And you are empowering these cops to go out and act like tyrannical fools.
And they're getting caught on camera doing it, and they're looking very stupid.
Before you speak ill will of the police department in this specific instance,
You will not sit up here and chastise me.
I would like for you
No.
to wait until the information comes forward.
You do.
We will
body
wait
cam
for the
footage.
We will wait for the facts, Ms. Benson.
Some people don't like Ms. Benson and I because we question authority, because people think you should just bow down because the government's good for you. But that's a slap in the face to every American who gave the ultimate sacrifice to create the freedom we have. And it's barely hanging on by a string. And if a few guys named Jefferson, Washington, and Madison didn't question authority, we wouldn't even have a country. And questioning authority is the most American thing you can do.
Hey guys, Denver Metro Audits, aka the Mile High Auditor, back again at Englewood City Hall. Do some public comment about the standards of behavior policy. This is the 4th visit we've made here. So we're gonna bring up some more unconstitutional stuff and see if we can get it removed. Let's see how it goes. How's it going?
How's it going today?
Hey, pretty good. What's your name, bro?
Huh?
What's your name?
Wiggins in there.
No, your name.
Dwight.
Dwight, I'm Christopher.
Christopher, I see you so much, I should know your name.
I'll know you now, Dwight.
All right,
cool.
Christopher.
Regan's in there, huh?
All right, yeah.
All right, cool. Hey, Mr. Anderson. All right, guys, so just do a quick check here. It's standards of behavior policy is still up.
Chris, right? Victor. I just wanted to reach out to you real quick. We had a request from council with the cameras, if we could set them up on the right side. I set up a separate table just for you. There was a concern from council about the cameras blocking view of residents and people in the audience to be able to see council and see the city manager. So we tried to find a spot that you can still get all of city council and the city manager and the speakers.
Okay.
So there's a table set up on the right-hand side. It says media on it.
Okay.
If you don't mind
That's
checking
no
that out,
problem.
and if that works for you.
Yeah. What was your name again?
Victor.
Victor? Okay.
Yes, sir.
What's your position here?
I'm the Director of Public Works.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And there, most of the cops, 99% of the cops that I speak to.
Hey Chris, got the draft today.
Oh, you got the draft?
Yeah, so I haven't even had time to review it, but all hygiene is out, body odor is out, so
Okay.
it's like a reference to public health. Anything that's a threat to public health is the only thing.
Cool. So body jeans out, the trash, bags of garbage is out.
Bags of garbage is out, yes.
Okay. What about
It needs to be like carried in like one load. If you can carry it in one load, you can bring it all in. So
Okay.
regardless of what it is.
What about clothing? I never really got clarification. It says clothing covering the upper body. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean naked, or does that mean like a shirt that's showing the belly button?
Yeah, you just have to have a shirt, shoes, and cover genitals.
Okay, so as long as the shirt covers the breasts, you're fine. They can wear a shirt with their belly showing, right?
Yeah, I don't think we speak to like a crop top kind of thing. I don't think that would be a problem.
Okay.
So,
All right. So every time that we do this, I kind of like, I have this speech and then like I kind of have to like revise it last minute.
yeah. Well, I just got it from
Oh, you
the
just got
attorney's
it.
office at 5.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I was able to take a look at it. I met with her at 3 and then was able to get the final copy at 5. So.
Okay. I have some other things like voices. I mean, if you want to reach out to me
We
via email.
also changed that. It's like excessive voice that, disrupts instead of just like loud voices. That's not always a problem. So we added some clarity to that one too.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. It just says voices. It doesn't say anything about profanity. Is that prohibited? Profanity?
I can't remember. I think profanity was in there, right?
Well, profanity was in there as far as if you use it in a threatening manner to incite violence, which would be not disturbing the peace, but disorderly conduct. But it just says also like disruptive behavior, and it says voices, but that's all it says. So
Yeah.
it's not very, it's vague.
Yeah. Let's see. This is what I got. Oh, not at 5, at 5:47. Let's see. Loud. What do you remember which tier it was?
It was the very
in?
first one on the list. Disruptive activity behavior.
Such as unreasonable, excessive noise, music, voices, voices or other media interfering with. So it sounds like we're silent too.
So they can't come in here yelling and banging drums, right? But profanity is acceptable, right?
I don't see anything. Let's see. Obscene, profane, lewd, threatening, abusive, disparaging language. So that's actually in tier 2.
But that
that's
says
still
that
in there.
it is there to incite violence, though, right?
Directed
provoke
at
a fight.
other, right.
So if somebody just comes in here and says "fuck," that's okay, right?
I don't know. There are laws on this. The state of Colorado has some laws on that, like profanity in a public space.
No.
Yes, they do. But
No.
I'll take a look at it. This is what it says.
What
as of right
so what
now.
about the urinating thing? Is still in there? Urinating in the hallway? You got rid of that one?
Well, remember that was never.
It was never a law, you said.
Right.
But it was in your policy, though. So is still in there? So I was going to address that today, too.
Oh yes, urination, defecation, other than a toilet. Yeah.
So that's still in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll address that one.
And what's your goal with that one? To let people be able to urinate, defecate on floors?
Absolutely
and
not.
chairs?
Of course not. The goal is basically, I don't know if that's really even an issue. Do you have a lot of people that come in here and urinate in the hallways?
We have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my issue is that you said that you wanted to do that, so therefore you could have a reason to trespass people. But my argument is that if somebody is going to urinate in a public hallway when there's a perfectly good restroom here, to me that means that they're mentally ill. So I think instead of trying to criminalize them, we should try to get them help and use the resources to help them, right? Rather than just.
Well, when you're trespassed, you're not. You can't come back to a place, but you aren't issued a citation, so it's not criminalized at all.
But so they would, yeah. But if they refuse to leave, they would get criminally trespassed.
Right. But that's a different reason. I mean, that's a refusal to, leave a public place.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Justice for all.
All right, everyone, we're moving on to recognition of scheduled public comment. The deadline to sign up for scheduled public comment is Wednesday by 5 p.m. prior to the meeting through the city clerk's office. This is an opportunity for the public to address city council. There is an expectation that the presentation will be conducted in a respectful manner, and council may ask questions for clarification, but there will not be any dialogue, and please limit your presentation to 5 minutes. Tonight, Member Ward, you're giving response to public comment, correct? All right. And first up is Mr. Chris, I'm trying to think of how to pronounce the last name now, Cordova? Cordova. Sorry about that. We'll address council regarding the standards of behaviors policy. Good evening. If you could just state your name and your address for cross streets.
My name is Christopher Cordova. I'm not going to give my address. And I would just like to thank all of you. If you have anything to do with the bodily hygiene policy and facilitating that, that has been removed. I wouldn't know who had any involvement in it. None of you guys reached out to me. I did have a brief conversation with Mr. Anderson the first time I was here. But I just spoke with Mr. Lewis, and he informed me that they're getting rid of a lot of stuff on here, which is great news. Possessions of garbage, I believe, is going to be gotten rid of. Seems like a non-issue. I got some clarification. Here's the thing. If I could speak to somebody, it would be more productive than me trying to come up here and cram everything in 5 minutes over the course of 2 months. But I am appreciative of this happening. So I got some clarification on the clothing covering upper body. So it just says covering upper body. To me, that means belly button showing is not acceptable. So Mr. Lewis said that as long as it's covered, that's fine. That's all that I was asking for. Now, just briefly, CRS 18-7-01 states that if a person is to expose an intimate part of the body other than the genitals, it's only illegal if they do it with the intent to arouse another. So just want to throw that out there in case somebody wants to be topless, a woman, not doing that, but in a city park. I've seen people a couple years ago at the abortion protests, and they were topless and their police underwear. Nobody did anything about that. So, but Mr. Lewis, you were wondering about the public urination thing. So last time you said that that's not actually illegal to urinate in a hallway of a city facility. And so you have to put it in the standards of behavior, therefore you have a reason to trespass someone. And my argument was, first of all, how many people are actually urinating in a public hallway and inform me that actually it's happened. And I'm assuming that it has happened, otherwise it would be here. But if somebody is going to urinate in a hallway of a public facility when there's a perfectly good restroom available to them, that means they're mentally ill, right? So Mr. Lewis's idea of handling that is to criminalize them and lock them in a cage or have them criminally trespass.
That's not fixing the issue. I think we should allocate our resources in a much more effective way. How about we get them help? And as Regan has been saying for years, that Englewood is orchestrating an attack on the homeless. And I say homeless because homeless suffer from mental illness at a higher rate than the non-homeless. So we have disruptive activity behavior, voices. Apparently, I think that's loud voices. It also does say in here that vulgar language promoted to provoke a fight. Now, Mr. Lewis informed me, I said, hey, I can curse in City Hall though, right? And he said no, because there's, I guess, a CRS that prevents that. I think what you're referring to, Mr. Lewis, is the disorderly conduct CRS. Now, disorderly conduct, you have to incite violence with your speech, but we can curse in here. There's nothing you guys can do about that. So it says right on here to promote or provoke a fight, which would be disorderly conduct. But Mr. Lewis did inform me that we can't curse in here, and so that's absolutely not true. And Mr. Mayor, every time you come and you say, hey, public comment, it's expected that it's going to be conducted with respect, and I've been respectful, but I don't have to. I choose to. So let's refer to the 1971 case of Cohen versus California, landmark case where the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Paul Robert Cohen is not guilty of disorderly conduct for walking into the corridor of a California courthouse with a jacket on that read, "Fuck the draft." That's constitutionally protected speech. And the thing is that respectful speech doesn't need to be protected. Offensive speech does. And this is what I mean when I say the government can't follow their own rules. So if somebody comes up here and they're redressing their government, you guys have to understand that people are going to be emotional and passionate about things, and that's okay. And you guys signed up to be subject to public scrutiny. And we're not in a kindergarten classroom. We're all adults here. If the F-bomb slips every now and then, you shouldn't want to do anything about that. Basically, what this is it's questioning authority. And some people don't like Ms. Benson and I because we question authority, because people think you should just bow down because the government's good for you. But that's a slap in the face to every American who gave the ultimate sacrifice to create the freedom we have. And it's barely hanging on by a string. And if a few guys named Jefferson, Washington, and Madison didn't question authority, we wouldn't even have a country. And questioning authority is the most American thing you can do.
Thank you for your time tonight, Mr. Cordova. Any questions? Member Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Cordova. One of my questions actually follow up on something you said last time about pornography viewing. Do you believe pornography viewing should be allowed in our public library?
I don't condone it, but I do believe that it's unconstitutional. Yeah, you can't prohibit that. Did you see the video last time where I explained it all?
No.
So essentially
that's all I needed was whether you think it should be allowed or not. Appreciate it.
It's unconstitutional.
Oh, how ridiculous. He wants to try to make him, put him on the spot.
Thank you for your time.
Anderson doesn't think pornography should be viewed in the library.
Thank you for your time tonight, Mr. Cordova.
Nice job.
It's actually, I'm sorry.
Actually, Mr. Cordova, there is a question. Go ahead, Member Wright.
Thank you. I agree, and I strongly believe in the Constitution. 5 minutes is not a lot of time. There are often people that do speak, but they follow up to City Council with email with their thoughts and their ideas. Have you thought about doing that yourself?
I've reached out to Mr. Lewis and I gave him the whole email, asked you guys to review that email. I hope you did, because there's still more stuff. This is great, and I'm very appreciative of what's happened so far, but I would like to get your guys' input on the email that I sent him, and I asked you, Mr. Lewis, to respond to me. You haven't responded to me back on that email, so. But I will reach out to you guys. I don't know your email. I could find it very easily. It takes about a minute to find. I think I have it actually in all my videos, but if you would like me to, Ms. Wright, I can email you.
Yes, please do. Because I think part of the solution is coming to problems, and also if you have ideas with solutions, would be great. So thank you.
I will email you then.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, thanks for your time tonight.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Wright. This is Christopher Cordova. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, I emailed you about a week ago, but I didn't hear anything, so that's why I was just reaching out to your phone.
Yes, I'm sorry. I've had doctor's appointments, and then it's been a crazy week. So,
Oh, okay. That's
I
no
did
problem.
receive your email, and it was a very kind email, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, no, we
And I
appreciate you.
appreciate everything that you have been doing.
Thank you. We appreciate you too. So I just kind of thought of it. I was editing this video, but I know it's like Friday, last minute. So if it's not a good time, we could talk in it like next week or something. Or we could talk now if you have a minute.
Yeah, if we could talk next week, that would be great.
Okay. Is there any way we could do Monday?
It would have to be in the afternoon.
I can do Monday afternoon.
I would say after 1 would be perfect.
Okay, so you want to just say like 2 o'clock then?
That would be perfect.
Okay. All right, I'll call you Monday at 2. Thank you for taking the time.
Okay.
And I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
I
bye.
appreciate that.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So on Monday, when we were supposed to have the phone conversation, I received this email. I apologize. I had a pressing matter come up and I will not be available for a call. Most of your questions below can be found in the Englewood Municipal Code on the city's website, because I forwarded her the email that I sent to Shawn Lewis that was very detailed in explaining everything that we want removed and the reasons we want it removed. And I had questions about laws, if it's actually a law, stuff like that. Then she says, as newly elected member of the council, I have a huge learning curve and have been meeting with many residents and businesses to learn about the different aspects of Englewood I never knew. This is keeping me extremely busy in a good way. And I responded asking her, hey, can you make some time for me this evening? Because I really wanted to get your opinion on stuff and your insight. And I have to publish this video because, it's already coming up on next public comment. So I got to get this out. And she didn't respond. So it's already been a couple of days, and it's quite disappointing because accountability is doing what you say you're going to do. So I emailed her like she asked me to, and I waited a week. She never responded, so I reached out to her. I made a phone call. She said, okay, let's talk on Monday. I had called her, and she didn't answer, and then I saw this email where she canceled it. And so I emailed her back, and she's completely ignored me. So according to this email, it seems as though she's trying to pass the buck. And it seems also like maybe she's just not confident in her ability. Like she says, I'm new and stuff like that. So I'm not sure. But again, it is quite disappointing. And I haven't given up complete hope on Kim Wright yet because I think her heart's in the right place. But it is quite disappointing as a public official. But I will give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe something happened, but I will be addressing this on the next city council meeting. So, all right, guys, let's get back to the video.
I believe we have 1 or 2 unscheduled public comment. Same rules apply, but you are limited to 3 minutes. Up first is Regan Benson with no topic given.
Good evening, Council. Regan Benson, Helping Hands for Dignity Coalition. I'm speaking on behalf of my official capacity tonight as executive director for a nonprofit that does direct street outreach with the homeless. But the caveat this evening is, Mr. Lewis, I'm very appreciative of the response you offered up today via email, and I know all of council was copied on that, and I responded again on that. And this document that you're getting right now is an addendum to the document that I served the city on Friday, asking for the release of that body cam footage. Mr. Ward, thank you for putting in a council request on the question of why 3 hours of body cam footage would cost a citizen $600 to see. Your cops do a wonderful job over here in Englewood. Let's see what they're doing. You guys have a very serious problem brewing with this release of body cam. And to add insult to injury, I went back over to the PD today to do another request for body cam footage and was told, oh, no, go away. You got to email somebody now. You guys have got to get a grip on this police department running a completely inept and inefficient records department. You're going to get sued. Bless you. please.
Council start asking some serious questions. So I do expect that body cam footage to be released of that very serious incident that EPD is now claiming an officer was assaulted. You certainly need the public's help in finding this individual. Release that body cam footage. There's no more ongoing investigation. In my official capacity tonight, I have a friend. His name is Robert. Robert lives homeless in Englewood. He's been cited for your behavior standards contract today by Englewood PD, and he's been banned from every park in Englewood for 45 days for smoking a cigarette. Shawn, it's not okay. You wrote that. And you are empowering these cops to go out and act like tyrannical fools.
And they're getting caught on camera doing it, and they're looking very stupid. And this is why we don't want to see that body cam footage. You are not going to criminalize and harass people out of homelessness, Englewood. Get a grip. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer, for your time. Member Wright has a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
When was Mr. Robert banned from?
This morning.
Okay. City manager or city attorney, do we have
Point of order. This time for questions.
So just questions for
okay.
now, and then we can ask for additional information after response.
Oh, okay. What park?
Little Dry Creek is where it initiated. Why don't you just close the damn place? Forever. Bulldoze it.
Any other questions, Member Wright?
So many, but
And we could communicate via email. I write to you guys all the time. So
we will have to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Benson.
Ms. Benson, can I ask one more? On this, what were the dates that you were asking for other body?
I didn't get that far because they didn't take my request.
Okay.
But they are separate incidences to that.
Right, so you have put in multiple requests for body footage, correct?
Not since that request. I have not.
Okay, so
But I tried to today.
Okay, in the past, have you received it?
yes,
You have received the footage?
yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer, for your time. Up next, I can't read the writing on it. Is it Robert? Was it Robert that's coming up and speaking? Mr. Robert, if you want to come up and if you could just state your name and your address or cross streets.
My name's Robert Stocker.
Stoddard, okay.
I didn't find that I would be homeless at this point in time. I had some health issues. I have cancer. I had a heart attack and a stroke in the same month. So it led me to where I am today. But I didn't think that me organizing my stuff to take an inventory of what's been missing, what I have, and that kind of, that's, like IDs and wallets and stuff like that. That's all I was doing. And every cop that I have been come in contact with has said, Mr. Stocker, you are, very honorable. We never have any problems with you. And I portrayed myself that way. I didn't expect to be banned from a park just because I was organizing my stuff. I think it's ludicrous. I have things that I'm trying to do so I can get out of homelessness, as in getting a job. And I said, well, if I have police contact, that omits me from the job I'm going for. And he said, oh, well. That didn't make any sense to me. I thought they were here to protect and serve. I'm flabbergasted. Every single building has no trespassing and no loitering. I can't go to the bathroom except for King Supers, and except I have 2 outhouses across the street from here, from the police station, and it's just, I think that we should be able to go to the bathroom. Talk about public urination. We don't have a choice. The other day, I had a friend loan me some money so I could get some pair of gloves. I went into the Army Surplus store and they said, "You're not welcome here." Now I've been in just on the other side of Denver. I grew up there. And for them to tell me that, I felt horrified. So I had to have my friend come in and then pay for it. But I went in with them and they didn't have a problem with that person. I just don't get it.
Mr. Stalker, your 3 minutes are up. Thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank
coming and speaking. No, hold on one second. Just seeing if there's any questions for members of council. Seeing no questions, thank you for your time tonight, Mr. Stalker. And that concludes unscheduled public comments. Member Ward, when you are ready, you can give a response.
First of all, I want to thank everyone who came and spoke tonight. It is much easier to process what you say when your approach is gentle. At least for me it is. Mr. Cordova, I appreciate your comments on the various policies around the city. It is something that we have tasked staff and our city attorney with monitoring. It sounds like there have been some adjustments made. I, for one, even as a staunch supporter of the First Amendment, I think there are some ramifications to some of the things that you're suggesting. The one that Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Anderson commented on is the one that strikes me the most definitively. Public viewing of pornography in a place where people who are not at the age required to view pornography are present is disturbing to me as a member of this council, and strikes me as the type of First Amendment complaint that I would be willing to expend city funds to defend. Ms. Benson, I appreciate that you acknowledged that I was the council member who made the council requests regarding your public records requests. I've said it 100 times, or at least I feel like I have. The records maintained by the police department belong to the people, as do all government records. That is standing state law in the state of Colorado. This is an area where I seem to have a little bit of a disagreement with certain members of police department staff. Anything we can do as a body to improve the process for obtaining public records from the police department, I would strongly support. I think this may be something that we need to have a study session on. There may be an option for us to add some more directive ordinances in city code. That's something that we need to talk through with the departments that will be affected. But I am a huge supporter of Colorado law regarding public records. And I have seen far too many public agencies attempt to obstruct efforts to obtain public records. And I don't want to be a part of that. So as much as we can do to fix the process involving challenges, specifically challenges obtaining police department records, I'm a strong advocate of that. I need the approval of 3 other members of this body to do a study session on that, and I'll be asking for that tonight. And Mr. Stalker, finally, thank you for coming tonight. If you were indeed stopped and banned for smoking a cigarette in our parks, that is completely unacceptable to me. We have signs posted in all of our parks and green spaces that say, something along the lines of, please don't smoke or something like that. I don't know exactly what they say. They were placed there prior to my council tenure at the request of students at the Englewood Leadership Academy, and I recall watching that council session where they agreed to place the signs. And at the time, there was a discussion about whether or not this was law. And the council members at the time, the body agreed that it was not indicative of a no smoking in our parks law. I myself have consumed tobacco in our parks since the signs went up, and I will continue to do so. I think that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to speak as a council member, but also a parent, especially in regards to our library. I'm very concerned about what could happen to our library if we eliminate all standards of behavior. I know, especially as challenges have increased around the library, staff, they've been in physical altercations with staff members, but a very challenging time for our library. I have kids, a new baby all the way up to 13 years old that utilize our library to find resources. We have kids all over Englewood who come into our library, and we can either make it a place that is welcoming for kids and families, or we can make it a place that is welcoming for people who want to use pornography or engage in altercations or urination and defecation, use language and other kinds of behaviors. That's the future of our library really is what's at stake. And we have all had all of these kinds of challenges. I think it is well within our rights to have a library that these kind of behaviors result in getting temporarily banned from the library for. Absolutely. We want to discourage these kind of behaviors in our library so that we have a library that is welcoming to children, welcoming to families, welcoming to parents. I want to know that my wife can take my 8-year-old, my 6-year-old into the library and know that they are not going to see pornography on our computer, right? That's something we should expect, and we should have rules that we enforce because of that. I absolutely believe in that, and I defend these rules because I want a safe and welcoming library for our staff and for my children and for the children in Englewood. And so I'm a supporter of these rules, and if there are unconstitutional things in them, as I have said before, I want to get rid of those things, and happy to get rid of the body odor thing. But a lot of these standards of behavior are totally appropriate for a library in Englewood. We have a library board right now with a liaison from the school board who owns websites, this is according to an Englewood Herald, that have the word pornography in them. Porn, XXX. This, what's going to happen if we defend the library, set it up? This is a place where we're free to look at pornography, and we have library board members who are supportive of that. I don't know if he's supportive of that or not, but that's the kind of person we have on our library board. We have to stand up for it. If we want to have a library that's welcoming to families, we have to stand up for it. So those are my views on the standards of behavior policy. Thank you.
You got to change the law then. That's a civil rights lawsuit waiting to happen, man.
Mr.
Change the law.
Cordova, please, your time is, we've given you your time. Thank you for speaking earlier tonight. And actually, I'll speak up as well. So, Ms. Benson, I appreciate you coming and speaking tonight regarding some of the injustices that you see within the city. But I do caution you, I do want you to get both sides of the story before you start speaking ill about the work of the police department. You referenced an email that you received from the city manager regarding the incident itself. And I won't go into details, and I know that we're going to be speaking about one aspect of it tonight, or at least Member Ward is going to be speaking about making some of the body cam information available sooner. But in that lengthy email, the city manager did provide some information on the incident itself. It did talk about 19 different police officers that were involved, 19 different body cams. So before you speak ill will of the police department in this specific instance,
You will not sit up there and chastise me.
I would like for you
No.
to wait until the information comes forward.
You will not
So,
sit
Ms.
up there
Benson-
and chastise
Ms.
me.
Benson,
Absolutely not.
Ms. Benson, you've had your time tonight. So
You are not going to sit up there and chastise me.
members of Ms. Benson, I will ask you to leave if you don't give me my time to kind of speak my mind on this issue.
You
So,
need
Ms.
the
Benson,
facts. You
exactly.
do.
We
Get the
will
body
wait for
cam
the
footage.
We will wait for the facts, Ms. Benson. And that's all I ask. So with that, we'll wait for the information to be released, but I do want you to hold any judgment on the police department until the facts are known. So thank you very much, Ms. Benson. And with that, Mayor Pro Tem, did you have something else to add? Or
No, thank you.
All right, that concludes unscheduled public comment. And with that, I think we will move just to consent agenda items.
Actually, I would like to address
I'm
an
sorry.
issue and the only reason I haven't addressed it before this is because I wanted to allow the public that came to address us. But this meeting is in violation of our policy manual and of the Muni Code. We need to cancel the rest of this meeting or postpone it because this is a legal holiday and we have violated our policy.
Thank you, Member Russell.
We are meeting legally and in compliance with applicable law.
So that was a really good talk.
Yeah, thanks. You guys, good job, Robert.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
This is Christopher.
Yeah, I'm Christopher. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and I didn't have enough time. I wish I had 10 minutes each time, but it's like, if it's like when you're in kindergarten, right, and you tattle on someone, and then the teacher says, hey, is he hurting you?
So let's
and he says no, and he says, don't tattle. That's like this thing with that they're banning you from the park indefinitely. That's crazy, man.
Whatever they says goes. Like, for example, this guy says, hey, you can't park the shopping carts in the park. So you have to park it on the other side of that fence, which is private property for the bank. And then they wrote me a ticket and said, you can't have that grocery cart on the parking lot of the bank. Well, that's where you told me to put it. You yourself told me to put it there.
Yeah.
Oh, I never said that. Come on.
People want to basically deny the homeless right to survive.
We're here.
Essentially, right? Yeah.
We're here.
And instead of, here's the thing too, is the United States is a country of vast wealth, and it chooses to have homelessness, right? The amount of money that they spend on wars, you could take a teeny fraction of that and completely eliminate homelessness.
Yeah.
Here's the notice of ejection and exclusion. I know there are going to be some civil rights attorneys that cannot wait to read this document. And it's all based on the standards of behavior on the tier schedule. Remember, we've talked about the standards of behavior's tier schedule, but DMA said he's made some changes. But here they are right here, remember? So this whole issue on pornography in the library.
Yep.
So
I think I'm going to do an entire 5 minutes next time on it, explaining it, because I don't condone it, but it's illegal.
Right.
And they're going to get a civil rights lawsuit.
Right.
So if he doesn't agree with it because of his kids, then fine, help change the law then.
No, don't help change the law. That's silencing speech. What he needs to do is protect his children from the speech he wishes them to not see. So has Joe Anderson ever thought of asking the library staff, how about we talk about the placement of these computers? How about you buy screens for the computers? There was a case in the very library that you were in, Columbine Library, and I've told you about this. There was a 12-year-old boy in there. I was in the library with my kids when my kids were little. This was clear back in probably late 1990s. And I go in this library, and I'm there for story time with my kids, and I'm a little suburban mom, and I'm like, oh, what is on that computer screen? And that looks like pornography. And I've got my little children with me. So I'm curious. So I go up to the librarian, and I say to her, excuse me, but there's a child over there on the computer viewing porn? And she says, yes, we are well aware of it. Yeah, we are well aware of it. This 12-year-old comes into our library often. He lives in the neighborhood, and there is nothing we can do about that because it is protected activity. It's a shame that his parents don't know where he's at and what he's doing, but that's none of our issue. Our issue is, of course, trying to temper everyone that's seeing that. So we have a screen that we attach to the computer screen, and it filters it. You can only see what's on the screen if you're standing directly behind a person using a computer. So their sensitivity over this pornography viewing is grounded totally in emotion and zero logic. Because if Joe Anderson had any logic, he would know that he can take his kids anywhere in public
and they could be subject to seeing horrible things. And how does he control that in public? He doesn't. But because he's a city council member here in Englewood, and his wife brings the chillins to the library, he's going to demand, along with his buddy Steve Ward, apparently, that they spend an unprecedented amount of money. You heard what he said, didn't you? At the end, Steve Ward said, we'll spend any amount of money defending our feelings.
Yep.
I mean, he
literally
just said it. That guy is such a flip-flopping fence humper that, I mean, I've never seen.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that he said that.
unreal.
He basically said, we will spend any amount of resources we can to attack the First Amendment.
Yes,
And
he
protect
did.
our feelings. And that
Yes.
thing with Jeffco, I did a whole video on it, but Jeffco has since changed their policy. They now have a zero tolerance policy on pornography viewing, but they did, Rebecca Winning, who was the spokesperson for Jefferson County Libraries, she said, if somebody wants to view something that you or I might find objectionable, it's the law. So we allow them to watch that. And it's still against the law. It's still protected speech. So they do have, there is case law, they do have the ability to install filtering software on computers in libraries, but they can't outright ban it if someone goes in there and they want to watch it on 5G. And here's the thing too, is why the filtering software, the filtering software makes it worse because it often bans other stuff like breast cancer websites or National Geographic, right? So, and it's not even that effective on blocking the stuff it's supposed to. People can still get into watching porn, but now you're blocking educational material for children, Nat Geo, stuff like that. So, and again, like you said, you can't protect your children from everything. They could get into a major car accident. That doesn't mean you're not going to drive with them. And I'm not going to sit a child down and like, hey, let's put in this porno so I can show it to you. Right? But at the same time, I feel like, okay, if a child just happens to walk by and like they see some porn on some guy's thing, it's not life ending. I mean, kids walk in on their parents having sex. It's not like ruining their lives, right? And again, I don't think I wouldn't do it personally. Like if people say, I just want to sue the city. Well, if that's true, I just go into that library and I'd get arrested. But I'm not going to do that because I don't think I
Why don't you go in there and check out the placement of the computers? That's the problem. They put those computers in the center of the library, right there by the doors. I don't know. Rearrange the library and put them in the back. Put the children's section, leave the children's section where it is, clear on the other side of the library. They'll still bitch. Because, you know, oh, then we don't get full access to the library because somebody wants to watch porn. Well, then make individual rooms for every single computer. And everybody can check into a room and go use a computer. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
If you're going to spend any amount of money defending a constitutional violation, why don't you just either fucking close the library or redesign the whole goddamn thing? I mean, it's that simple.
And you did a great job up there too, talking about the body cams and stuff like that.
Oh, they're in a world of shit over this body cam stuff because they're not releasing. They want $600 for 3 hours of body cam footage.
They're doing that to bully you so that people want to discourage people from getting it. They do that all the time.
Yep. I'm really glad you're making progress with that.
Hey,
I think it's
thank
great.
you.
However, I have to say, we're on the cusp of literally them getting sued for what they're doing. So the fact that you're instituting these changes, they just violated his constitutional rights today with that behavior standards contract. And this is going to every civil rights attorney. Banning him from public property for 45 days on park rules, and they cite smoking a cigarette and obstructing a passageway.
And Ward just admitted that he smokes on the parks, and he's going to continue to smoke at the parks too.
They think they're going to give these cops a free pass in representation to violate people's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen. These cops still have, you know, qualified immunity for their decision making to a point now. So if Englewood wants to empower them to go out and continue to violate people's rights, this will continue to be the result. Joe Anderson's going to be the next mayor here.
Great.
That's what he's bidding for big time. And all, you know what pissed me off about what he did to you in that question? All he wanted to do was get you to say that you support pornography in the library.
I know.
You've already made it very clear numerous times on the record that you don't necessarily support the promotion of pornography. And he turned around tonight and pulled that shit with you.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm going to come up with a 5-minute speech for the next one, and we're going to talk about pornography, I guess, because that's what they all wanted to bring up. So.
Yep, that's their crux, and they think that that's the hill they're going to die on, and they're not gonna. Because it's not going to fly. And for the city attorney to sit there and even let that conversation go on, that city attorney is proving less and less competent. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for coming in. Make sure you subscribe to Big Sis Regan Benson. And I guess we have some more work to do because, you know, Mr. Anderson wants to kind of act foolish and try to make me look stupid. So thanks for following this story, guys. If you've been here for a while, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember, guys, forced patriotism is the opposite of freedom.